All right, my friends, I'm going to talk about why having a regulated nervous system means that you are in touch with your anger. You get angry. Now, having a regulated nervous system does not mean that we are feeling calm all the time. It means that we are in touch with our life force. We are in touch with our protective mechanisms, the energy that becomes available to us when we sense threat in our environment. So we can appropriately deal with the moments, the challenges, the situations that we find ourselves in where we need to protect ourselves, stand up for ourselves, right? Now, this is built on a deep foundation of feeling so worthy of belonging, so worthy of being here, of my right to take up space. We have to come into connection with that first, right? So a regulated nervous system is not one that is calm all the time. A regulated nervous system is one that experiences fluctuation. It's one that is dynamic. It's one that is agile. We can feel activation and then come back to a sense of center. So we don't want to live in the extremes. We don't want to be chilled out, Miss Cool Girl all the time. We also don't want to be flying off our handlebars, raging at every person who triggers us. Being in touch with, aware of our emotional experience is different than expressing our high emotionality, right? The hyper emotion that we might be holding, the charge of the feeling in our body. Expressing our anger is going to look different than just potentially being with the feeling in its raw form, because we're going to be scanning, well, who's here? What's appropriate? How do I be clear in the fact that I'm feeling a certain way without betraying the feeling, but also without letting the feeling take over? So being well regulated means that you're dynamic. You're able to advocate for yourself. You're able to speak up. You're able to disappoint others. You're able to be honest about what's on your mind because you trust that that is the very way that you are accountable to you in transmitting what is unseen and private, this inner experience that you're in touch with and aware of, transmitting that in a way that is appropriate to the people that you're with, to the environments that you're in, to the responsibility that you have, right? In particular, whatever context that you might be in. You're going to have different responsibility at work to uphold than you will at home with your children. Now, it's also being able to express while not being attached to the outcome, right? Expressing what's honest, being truthful without needing to be right. When we can do that, we ground into our trust, our ability to trust that the other person can handle the truth, that they are, in fact, responsible for holding themselves, and that whatever reactions come up in that space is about them. That doesn't mean weaponize that language and say, oh, this isn't my job, this isn't about me. But stay clear in that in-between space where two people come into relationship. Healthy relationship is I'm 100% me and you're 100% you, and we're meeting in the middle, right? The repair process happens between us. It's a negotiation. It requires connection. So if we can stay unattached to the outcome, we might be surprised what we experience. We might be surprised by what we find. This is the way to shift out of people pleasing, out of hero. This is the way to shift out of victim, out of persecutor, right? That dreaded drama triangle that we find ourselves on, where we are not taking responsibility for ourselves, but blaming the external world. This world, this is happening to me, or this is somebody else's fault. Being well regulated means you're able to show up and own your half, and that there's enough security in your relationship with the person that you're engaging with to be able to own what is true for you, to show up authentically. You're going to get so much information when you can based on how that other person shows up to the conversation. If they start to go into distress or tantrum, if they start to blame shift and point fingers at you, you know that you have some choices to make about how to show up for that moment, about how to show up for that relationship, about whether or not you want to continue. The more honest that we are about what we're moving through, about what is true for us, the more we create space for other people to also be honest. Adrienne Marie Brown has this beautiful saying, trust the people and they will be trustworthy. You have to give people the chance to show you who they are, not through manipulation, not through coercion, through being accountable for your part, for holding yourself, for showing up and owning that. That's what nervous system regulation is in service of. Taking radical responsibility for your part and staying distinct, separate, but connected to, deeply interconnected with every other person, every other sentient life form on the face of the planet. That is key to our liberation.